The No Nonsense Roundtable. It's a weekly show broadcast on Rochester, New York's 50,000-watt iHeart radio station, News Radio Wham 1180. The host, Dom Geneva, interviews guests from all walks of life, all with amazing stories to tell. What you are about to hear is a recording of a previous broadcast with limited commercials. Now, here's host, Dom Geneva.
Well, welcome again to another edition of your No Nonsense Roundtable, 10 a.m. Saturdays right here on News Radio Wham 1180. And I'd like to tell you again, explain to you again, that all the old shows are on, or previous shows, sounds better, are on nononsenseroundtable.com. And if you go to my YouTube channel, you can find some shorts there. Well, not like you wear. I mean, they're shorts. So it's like, there's one of Don Alhart that's got like 90,000 views. 90,000 views. You know, Don Alhart's little advice on life. And there is a great story. That's another short of told by Bruce Pilato about his interaction with Ringo Starr, of all people, and Ringo needing a laptop. And it's a laugh ride. I think that's got like 60,000 views too. So you can go there and see and hear those things. And I appreciate it if you do. If you go there, like and subscribe. Just makes me feel, I don't get any money for that. It just makes me feel good.
That's right.
Yeah. So we're here today with Mike Whittemore, an icon of Rochester broadcasting. And you obviously, everybody's heard your voice. I mean,
well, you know, I was fortunate enough. I was originally going to be a radio star, and then I got into sales, and I discovered that when I sold the advertising, I could write the commercials and then cast myself. Yeah. So that's how I became a radio icon. I just, was a big ham, and I liked hearing myself on the radio, and that's how it went.
Well, what I didn't know or understand is that we started out in sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then became, Wheeze.
Wheeze
what do you do for a living? I'm Wheeze.
Yeah.
It's like Cher. It's just
Wheeze is one of those guys.
I love that guy.
Somebody. I forget the name of the general manager. Some muckety muck at WCMF was smart enough to see that Wheeze had this incredible personality.
Yeah.
And I think he started on the all night show, and that lasted about 3 months. He was so good.
Yeah.
He very quickly became a true Rochester radio icon.
Yeah. I love talking to him. He treats me with such dignity and respect, even though I have no idea what I'm doing. But anyway,
I don't think that's true.
So this show is like phase 2 of the car buyers clinic. Because we did a show just recently, and there were so many questions that came up, and we were doing answers to questions that were sent in to us by email. But Mike, as coincidence would be, I found out that Mike sitting here, that he's a car owner himself, which is incredible. And incredible, the coincidence that you're a car by yourself. But then we started talking, and in between breaks he's starting to come up with questions. I mean, these really, really good questions, and we like each other. We have time to spare, and we decided to keep on going with some of these things. So let's have at it. You had a couple of other questions, I know.
What's your opinion of electric cars? How should a current car buyer look at electric cars? How do you decide whether you're going to take that plunge or not?
Yeah, and that's an excellent question, because sometimes things are just a little bit ahead of their times, and how far ahead of the times are you with something?
I get nervous about it.
Yeah.
I'm concerned that if I bought an electric car, I'd run out of juice, and I wouldn't know where to go to charge it up. And does it really make sense?
All right. So everything in life is upside potential and downside risk, right? Okay. Everything. I don't care if you're talking about a job, getting married, whatever. Upside potential and downside risk. Yeah. So let's talk about the upside potential of having an electric car. What's the upside potential?
You'll never have to buy gas ever again.
Okay. And as far as performance goes?
Believe it or not, I don't have doubts about performance. I've talked to enough people who tell me that their electric cars have all the get up and go they could ever need.
Yes, they certainly do. And so what is the downside?
The downside is getting stuck on the side of the road with no juice in my car. And what do I do now?
Okay. Now, the other upside of the car is very, very fast. Okay. A little bit of the downside doesn't have the same handling that a regular gas car has, because the center of gravity is very, very low because the batteries are very heavy. Okay, so it's very fast, but it's not going to corner as well.
That's the other thing I've heard about electric cars is that you chew through tires about every 12,000 miles.
And they're exceptionally heavy.
Yes.
There was a report on TV a while back, and it was talking about the guardrails can't hold them because they're like 5,000 pounds instead of 3,000 pounds. Okay. So the thing about the range is this, and it just it just dawned on me, is the most common sense thing that you can think of when you talk about range. Okay, so how many times do you fill your car up every day?
No.
You fill up your electric vehicle every night?
You plug it in.
You plug it into your home, right?
My son has a hybrid. He plugs it into
every
his
night,
garage
right.
wall.
But okay, so the people that are worried about driving, I get that. If you're driving from here, like Nita and I go to South Bend, it's 550 miles. Okay, you're not going to make that. You're not going to make that in your electric. Okay,
right.
But if there's two cars in your family, and you have one that you're taking a big trip, and that's the SUV or whatever, and the second car is an electric, you're filling the car up every night. Okay, so if you're going to Buffalo and back, it's got a 200-mile range, you're fine. But you're filling the car. You're filling the car up every day. So I don't see anything wrong with that. Now, the thing about electric cars too is that there's so many different types of electric cars and manufacturers for electric cars. Now, Tesla, in New York State, you have to be a franchise dealer to sell a new automobile, except for Tesla.
So what's that mean?
So a franchise, so somebody like you're a car dealer, you own the dealership, and they sell you the cars, and it's not directly from, like Ford does not sell you directly a car. You got to have a middleman, and the middleman is a dealer. Okay. Tesla sells directly to the public. Okay.
How?
They got around the law. They did some great things for people in office and whatever, and they have like 5 or 6 outlets or something like that. They don't have a lot of outlets, but they go through. They go directly to you. So you're not dealing with the dealer. The other thing I found out the other day, somebody sent in a report saying that they were buying a car and they were buying it through the Seneca Nation because there's no sales tax. But then the Seneca Nation is paying 4% a fee. They charge you a 4% fee for that, which I didn't understand. But it's outside the general franchise system. And it's direct to the public, which is, Elon Musk's thing. He said, why do you need these middlemen? I mean, years ago, maybe, it was a different story, but that's the thing. So the electric cars, now there are different electric cars. I mean, Cadillac has an electric car, Ford, the Mustang has a 4-door Mustang that's an electric car and whatever. And it all depends on your, on your needs and your wants. My big thing is, test drive the car. It's not going to drive the same as your car. But the range, again, I think it boils down to, is this your first car or is this your second car? Because, like I said, if you have one car and you're going to want to go to, going to want to drive to Orlando, you're going to have a problem. You got to go fill it up someplace.
Because I haven't actively been in the market for an electric car. Mm-hmm. There's a big price difference, isn't there? Oh yeah, and there's big rebates and stuff like that. And we'll talk about that when we come out of the break. But there's also a philosophy that I have: if you are going to acquire an electric car, how to do it. This is Don from my friend Jim Shelley and his Fanatics Pub and Blue Stage in Lima. Go down 390 to exit 10, east a couple of miles, and you're there. And there is where we'll be having our Christmas show, our live Christmas show on December 10th. Jimmy Highsmith is the headliner with his cool jazz. We'll have celebrity guests and performances by my Middle Finger Lake Arts players. The $20 ticket price goes directly to the Rochester Rotary Sunshine Camp. Get your tickets at fanaticspub.com. That's fanaticspub.com.
This is Dom Genova for my friends at Martin Ising Dry Cleaning in Fairport. Well, it's that time again. You're starting to wear long sleeve shirts. You got to schlep them to the dry cleaner and schlep them. Well, no, you don't. No, you don't. You do what I do. You call Martin Ising Dry Cleaning in Fairport. They pick them up and they drop them off, and they do a great job. Their Google rating is 4.9 out of 5. You can, oh my God, it's amazing. Their number is 425-4242. 425-4242. I use them. You should use them. Well, welcome back. We're talking to a professional car buyer. You're not a professional car buyer. You're a car buyer.
Anything but.
Car buyer, good friend, and radio icon, Mike Whittemore. And we're talking about cars, this being another edition of the Car Buyers Clinic, if I want to call it that. We're talking about electric cars and the upside and downside potential of electric cars. And electric cars, like I said before, I think is a great idea if it's your second car or you don't go all that far. But if you want to drive to Orlando, that's going to be a problem because none of them have that type of a range. You're going to have a stop someplace and get it all juiced up. But my advice on the electric cars, because the batteries are so expensive and it's really questionable about how much it's going to cost, if there's a problem with the battery or whatever, I would lease the vehicle rather than buy the vehicle, because at least if you keep it within the warranty and you're driving that many miles, then you just hand the keys back and you don't have to worry that the battery's not going to last for 10 years or something like that.
In our previous segment, when we're talking about electric cars, you suggested that we're maybe a little bit too far ahead of the mainstream, that we're ahead of the curve here with the current electric cars. What needs to happen in the market for the electric car to really be at its peak, to have it make the most sense for the most number of people?
Well, I think people have this fear of range. First of all, it's fear of range. And the other thing is that the government is putting their thumb on the scale of this thing. They're giving these incredible incentives for you to buy an electric car or lease an electric car. I mean, it's thousands and thousands of dollars that they're doing it as a social as a social issue, global warming and stuff like that. So,
got it.
In and of itself, I forget. I found some figure, and I don't want to speak out of school, but there was an incredible amount of money that they're losing on every car, and it's made up for, with this subsidy that the government's giving them. So they're putting a thumb on the scale for
the manufacturers are losing money on every car.
Oh yeah. That's what I hear. That's what I hear. And I like I said, I don't want to talk out of school, but this is not profitable for them. This is not profitable for them. You see, anything with anything having to do with the automobile manufacturer, they have to make a lot of them, whatever it is. They have to make a lot of them to make any money at all. And the manufacturers get themselves into problems with that all the time. I was working for Chrysler once, and we had this 2-seat car. It's called the Crossfire.
Yeah.
And the
cool looking car.
Yeah, cool looking car. But all the research said that they could sell 20,000 of them, only 20,000. Now, a good run on a car like a minivan would be $250,000. So I mean, it's like 20,000. And they said, well, manufacturing says that they can't do it for less than we have to make 40,000. They said, okay, go make the 40,000. Well, if the market's 20 and you made 40,
now you get a problem.
You got a problem.
Yeah.
Right. So the electric,
you have a 2-for-1 sale.
Yeah. Well, and that's and that's the problem with some of these cars is you have to have volumes and volumes of them to make money. But the thing about the electric cars is that yes, it's popular. I think it's the wave of the future. I don't know where the electricity is going to come for all these, but it's not a bad deal. But I would lease, if I was doing one, I would lease one. And the other thing is that the utility of the darn things. I mean, does it fit your lifestyle? Do you like driving a car like that? I mean, the Ford pickup truck looks like a pickup truck. The Cybertruck doesn't look anything like a pickup truck.
Right.
So what else? You were asking about some of these people that some of these sales and stuff that you see online, right? I mean,
yeah. When people look at an ad and the ad says, "We'll give you $4,000 for your trade, no matter what it's worth."
Yeah.
Well, does that make any sense?
No. Well, like 210s for your 50 isn't a 2-for-1 sale. I mean,
That's true.
I can give you $4,000 for, actually I didn't add, I did very little TV ads, but I said I'd give you $4,000 for my bottle of water, for your bottle of water. If you bought my bottle of water for, $4,150. I mean, I mean, all I have to do is put it someplace else.
Right.
And the thing about it is that there's so many different ways that we can bake in the difference there. You ask more for your car, you charge more for the interest or whatever. But somebody says that, and I always used to love this. I would say, they're going to give you $4,000 for your car. Well, go bring your car to the place that says they're giving you $4,000 for your car, and say, here's my car. Give me a check for $4,000. And the guy's going to go, what is he going to say to you? Right? He's going
to say, okay, what do you want to buy?
Yeah, what do you want to buy?
I'm going to say nothing. I just want the $4,000 for my car.
Right. Yeah. So that's
I'm thinking that's not going to happen.
No. And that's one of those things. There's a difference between. This is another topic we get into. There's a difference between a price leader and a bait and switch.
Okay.
And I can explain this every once in a while. I get a chance to give a talk at RIT to the students, and I explain it this way. If you go to McDonald's and you want a $1 hamburger when they have the $1 thing, they don't tell you they don't have any. Come back, you have to buy a Big Mac, right?
Right.
That is a loss leader. It's costing them more money than that,
right? To
make that $1 hamburger. I got that. They want to sell you the Coke or whatever. There is something called a bait and switch, which is in the state of New York, you have to have a reasonable amount of whatever it is to advertise whatever it is. Okay. So a bait and switch is they have the one car at that price.
Right.
Okay. And that's the ad they took. They took a $15,000 ad to advertise, and there's one car.
Yeah.
And then the next one is, my brother-in-law bought that last week.
Yeah.
And that's not the, so.
Oops, but we've got this beautiful one here for.
Yeah. Well, they're supposed to put in, how many they have at that price.
Right.
Okay. And that's the difference between a bait and switch and a loss leader. There's nothing wrong with a loss leader. When I had my dealership, I had a bottomless, a bottomless amount of whatever we advertised. If I had to go out and get something and we ran out of it, I'd go, get in and lose money. My word had to be good.
Yep.
So
absolutely,
that's what you do. But there's so many other things, and we're about ready to get into a break. But there's so many other subtleties, and when you're looking and you're pricing and going out to buy a car, and a portion of this is the stuff that you got to prepare yourself for ahead of time, and then there's a portion of this that. Once you get to the dealership and you start dealing with the dealer, how do you not get into an argument with somebody or get into a peeing contest with somebody, and get what you want and reduce your anxiety. There was somebody that did a survey years ago. It's a true story, and they found out that people would rather have a root canal than go shopping for a car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can understand that.
Well, the funny thing is, my internet company, the people that are doing my webpage, they did a spec ad for me or webpage for me once, and it showed some guy, with his mouth open and the dentist sticking the tools in his mouth to do it. I go, no, that's not the landing page for Genesee Valley. I can't have that. So, we're heading into a break, and we will be talking with you, after the break. This is Dom Genova from my friends at Jack Greco Furniture. Like I like to say, you buy a car every couple of years, you probably take your money and put it into furniture for, decades. Now, go someplace where they treat you right and they have good stuff. Not like these big box stores. Go to Jack Greco. And this is the end of the year. They have closeout savings on their outdoor furniture. Hey, the winter's not going to last forever. It's going to seem that way, but it's not going to last forever. Go see Jack Greco. Well, welcome back. We're talking with a good friend of mine, Mike Whittemore, radio icon and car buyer. It's not, I say welcome back all the time. I kind of do that on purpose because we had somebody who is very professional in the car business and the radio business who berated me for saying welcome back all the time. So
that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
That's not a ridiculous thing. Well, you do a good...
that's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. Say the magic word and win $100.
Oh, wasn't he great?
I love Groucho Marx.
Groucho, and the thing about Groucho is that he was clean. He did not believe in not being clean. And
just enough double entendre.
Oh yeah. And they used to meet at the Algonquin Round Table down at the hotel down in and what was it? Dorothy Parker was her name or whatever. All these literary people. It was called the Algonquin Round Table. Okay. And that's an iconic old hotel there right around Times Square. And Nita and I stayed there. So you're looking at where these guys would hang out and whatever.
That's cool.
So, yeah, it was really cool. But Groucho, yeah, God bless him. If you want to see something that's really great online, go look at his You Bet Your Life. It's just
classic stuff.
His wit was
classic stuff.
He says, yeah. My favorite is he says, outside of a dog, a book is man's best friend. He goes, inside of a dog is too dark to read.
Oh, gosh. That's funny. I love Mike Groucho.
So you were asking a question about warranties.
Yeah, so, my...
you bought a car, it's got a warranty on it. Yeah.
My last car came with a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty.
Yeah.
There are other cars out there that come with 100,000-mile warranties, and I can't tell you how many times I've had dealers offer me extended warranties.
Yeah.
As a smart consumer,
okay.
How do I look at that stuff?
Okay, let's put this in silos, okay? Let's put these in like 2 or 3 different silos, maybe 4 different silos. Okay, so the factory warranty comes by the manufacturer. It's through the manufacturer, and it is processed and delivered to you by the dealer. You can't take a warranty. You can't go to an independent repair shop with a factory warranty and have Ford pay for that. They're not doing that. Okay, because they have to use the Ford parts. They want the Ford training. They want, all the manufacturers. They're not going to reimburse you for something that somebody else does. Now, people have been trying to get that changed for years and years and years. They haven't, and it's a good thing they haven't got it changed because you don't want some Yahoo, working on your car. Working on your car and getting reimbursed from the manufacturers. It's not, it's not fair to anybody. So when you buy a car, it has a certain warranty on it, and is for certain things. You got to read. You should read your owner's manual. Now, people don't even read their owner's manual. Read. You got to actually read it. Okay. But it has gotten ridiculous over time. I'll change the subject. Just a question once. We had a complaint from a woman. And, said, well, the factory warnings were I said there are 150 factory warranties in your owner's manual. And one of them says, don't try to clean the windshield of your car while the wipers are on. It's like, I need this, That's not like those little packets of stuff, that you get in the electronics that say do not eat. Yeah. Those little silica gels.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if they want you not to eat them, why do they make them look like sugar packets?
I don't know.
Okay,
that's a good question.
That's right. Why don't they put a skull and crossbones on them inside? But anyway, I'm right. I'm regressing.
Why do they make it look like a candy bar?
Digressing or regressing or whatever. So the warranty. So a lot of customers have the misconception that the dealer has this chunk of money that they can spend any way they want to make you happy. That's not true. When you have a warranty repair, it has to be diagnosed properly, and it has to be performed properly, and the dealer is doing that up front. And if you don't do it properly, the factory doesn't pay you.
Oops.
Yeah. So it has to do with organization, competence, and knowing what you're doing. So if you have a repair that's required on your car, you just can't go to a dealer and say, hey, this thing, you got to get it fixed. No. It may not require, it may not be exactly what you think it is. But the other thing is that the dealer has risk in there. I had a fellow once who is really, really ticked off that the engine on his Hellcat blew up, and he changed the oil within 3,000 miles, and his car, the engine just blew up, and he's upset with us. Okay. Now, first, two things. One, he didn't buy it from me. Okay, he bought it from somebody else.
Okay.
And he changed it within 3,000 miles, but it was in storage for 3 years.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chrysler's not reimbursing you for having your car in storage for 3 years and not changing the oil. You have a certain interval, especially with a car like that. So it's not like I can go to Chrysler and say, oh, the guy changed it within 3,000 miles. Well, no, but it was, you're supposed to change it with 3,000 miles within so many months and stuff like that too. So you don't have the ability as a dealer of absorbing that or risking the fact that you're going to do a $10,000 repair on this guy's car,
right,
and Chrysler's not going to pay you back, and they're not going to pay you back, and you didn't sell the car to begin with.
Right.
Yeah. So, that's just factory warranties. Now, as far as longer warranties, one time Nita said to me something about something had a longer warranty on it and this and the other thing. I says, yeah, it's because they have to.
Right.
The car's
100,000-mile warranty. Yeah, you got to have it because people don't trust it.
Yeah, because the car's crappy. That's why.
Right.
It has a 100,000-mile warranty. Yeah, because the car's a crappy car. Yeah. I mean, you got to take a look at that too. But the other thing is that extended warranties and whatever. I think I'm a believer in extended warranties as long as they're factory backed warranties. I had a dealer once when I was in North Carolina. His warranty. His warranty company was in the Cayman Islands, and so when he went out of business, everybody had a warranty, don't have a warranty. So warranties a worthwhile thing as long as it's a nationally recognized warranty and whatever.
When dealers sell extended warranties, are the prices of those things often negotiable?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, absolutely. And that is, you're touching on a very, very, very good point when you're shopping for a car, because most people shop just price.
Right.
So it's the warranties, it's the financing, it's how much money they're giving you for your trade-in. It's all these other things, and one of the things we'll talk about is trade-ins, because your trade-in value is very variable dealer to dealer. I'll put it this way. There's something called marginal utility, one of the few things I learned in grad school, okay? And it goes like this. It says, you're at a ballpark and they're charging you $10 for a beer. Okay, you pay the $10.
Yeah.
Okay. So the second one's $10. Yeah, okay, I'll buy another one. Says by the time you get to the 16th beer, you don't want any beer anymore. I mean, you've had your beer. You're not paying for it. They could give you the beer.
More time in the bathroom than in the seat watching the game.
That's right. Yeah. So used cars are sort of like that. If a guy has 15 of what you're trading in, it's not going to be as worth it for him as if he didn't have any of those, or he carries the same brand. Somebody came into me once with a really hot Audi. I really don't have the market for this. Whatever I can wholesale that car for.
Right.
So if you brought to quite frankly,
an Audi.
Yeah. Quite frankly, if you're going to get more money, I would think from an Audi dealer or somebody who has an Audi dealership in their portfolio of dealerships, because some of these guys have 20, 30 dealerships. So with that, we are ready to go into our next break, and we will be talking more about the car business after that. This is Dom Geneva from Myers Creative. People get DNA tested to see where their ancestors came from, and that's all you get, where they came from. How about if you could actually have a video of past family? Well, you can't do that for the past, but you could do it for the future. John Myers can visit your home and video a professional and thoughtful interview for you to pass down to generations. Book one for yourself or give one as a Christmas gift to mom and dad to talk about their story. Or both. Go to lifeinterviews.com. Well, welcome back to the No Nonsense Roundtable. We're talking with Mike Whittemore, radio icon and car buyer, and we were talking about warranties. One of the things I want to finish up on warranties, and I mentioned this at a past show, is that the used car warranty in New York, the dealer has to give you a used car warranty depending on the miles on the car. And it's 30, 60, or 90 days, and it only includes certain major things. So, so a dealer can give you a better warranty than that, but he's got to give you a minimum. And the thing that a lot of people don't know is that you have to bring it back to that dealer to get the used car warranty work done. If you have a manufacturer's warranty on your new car, and you get it from like Ford, you can bring it to any Ford dealer. They may not be happy that you didn't buy the car from them, but they have to eventually fix the car. And I wouldn't hold it against them if they were short on parts, if they used them for one of their customers first.
Got it.
I mean, that's just life.
Okay.
But with the used car warranty, you got to go back to the guy that sold you the car, because that comes out of his pocket. That's not the manufacturer's warranty. So
can you assume that every used car dealer is created equal in terms of being able to take care of that warranty problem on your vehicle if they have to bring it back?
Well, the thing is that if you still have factory warranty left on it, of course you're going to take it back to the original dealer if you buy a used car. But the fellow that sold you the car, whether it's a used car dealer, new car dealer, it's his responsibility to take care of that. I bought a very nice car for my daughter down in a little place in Dansville. I mean, it's just a guy who's been there for like 30 years, and just honorable guy, and I was very, very, very happy with that. The thing about you have to understand about trade-ins too is that some of the stuff you got to be a little bit careful with some of these things that come from out of town. I like Carfax. Carfax is not going to tell you everything about the car, but it's going to catch a lot of stuff if you go to Carfax. Now, if the dealer's not going to give you a Carfax himself, go get one yourself, on the car. Yeah. And one of the things is that you look over the car, and especially when you have like these hurricanes and stuff like that, you get a car from down south. It's a down south car. Yeah, it was in a hurricane too.
Yeah,
sure. So you got to
well be.
Yeah, and they say look under the carpets and look and see if there's silt and stuff like that, because that this thing happens. I mean, it could be in a flood, and a flood doesn't necessarily mean that the thing was was totaled.
The flood damage can be very, very difficult to deal with.
Yeah, and there's something called washing a title.
Washing a title.
Yeah, washing a title. Well, where a car was totaled, but it was sold to somebody in a different state, and then it comes back here, and the title doesn't have the salvage title on it anymore. You got to be careful when you're buying used cars.
What's the difference between a regular title and a salvage title?
Well, salvage title means that the vehicle is basically parts.
Right.
It's not like a drivable vehicle. So I mean, you got to be careful with that. It's very rare. We're kind of getting a little bit into the weeds with the really kind of rare things that most people won't be in front of. But you go to a reputable dealer, and you'll get your protections.
What's a delivery bump?
Okay, that's a common tactic that's used by some dealers. Is that on delivery of your car, there'll be something on it, or a term that you didn't agree to.
Okay.
And so let's say you go to a dealer and you don't have firm yet what your car payment is. Let's say it's $400.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you just signed an agreement with this guy that you're going to buy the vehicle, and it's going to be this and whatever. You just say $500. He sold you the car for $500 less than the guy down the road. Right?
Okay.
So you come to pick up the car, and the payment's $420. Okay. Well, $420. Okay. Well, your credit wasn't quite as good as we thought it was, so it's $20 more. So you got a 60-month note, right?
Yeah.
So that's $1,200.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. So it's,
That's $1,200 more than you actually agreed to.
Well, your credit wasn't as good as we thought your credit. No, your credit was fine.
So how do you deal with that? If somebody does that to you, what do you do?
Well, you got to have the figures up front. You got to have the figures up front on paper, and you have to shop. It's sort of like with the financing. You should shop the financing like you shop anything else. Now I have seen. I can't tell you I've seen this locally, but in my career at Chrysler, I would see where a customer would come into a dealer, and one particular dealer, and he would take the registration off of your car and the inspection off of your car before he presented the numbers to you.
No way.
Yeah.
So if you decided you didn't want the car, then you have an uninspected, unregistered car sitting there, and you have no way of getting it home.
Yeah. I mean, these quite frankly, there was a time years ago when they would hide your keys and stuff like that. I would take a second set of keys. Quite frankly, if I'm going to go trade in my car someplace, I'm not going to give my house keys too. I don't know who the heck has the car. I don't know. I'm not saying that happens, but again, upside potential, downside risk. You get one set of keys, and make sure that's not your house keys. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Good point.
But all these things are things I picked up over the years. You got to remember, I spent 17 years calling on dealers with Chrysler, so it was like 450 dealers, and I had 26 years owning my own dealership, and you see a lot of stuff. I know. I saw a customer once that went to talk about a delivery bump, went to a dealer in Churchville who's since gone out of business, and he went there and he thought he bought a Ford XLT pickup.
Yep.
And they tried delivering an XL to him, not an XLT. And they said to him, "Oh no, this is the only one we could do at that price." And and some people are just too nice. And he came to me and he was like, "Screw that." He says, "I'm not dealing with that."
Had he already turned it away?
Yeah. He said, okay. I'm not dealing with that. That's not what I agreed to.
Right.
And a lot of people I think are too nice. They're what? Give me the blah blah. And sometimes it's a mistake, and sometimes it's a strategy. That's a strategy. You don't deliver an XLT to somebody, an XL to somebody who's supposed to be an XLT. But the other thing is that it's the four corners of the piece of paper. There's a philosophy or a statement that my attorney, Ron Passero, a wonderful attorney, since retired, he says it's whenever you're dealing with anything that has anything to do with a legal document, it's the four corners of the piece of paper that dictate what's going on.
Okay.
Because if it goes in front of your honor's going to look at the four corners of the paper, not that somebody said to you, "Oh, later on they said they'd take care of this." No. It's not on the piece of paper.
It's not on the piece of paper.
It never happened.
Yeah.
So the four corners of the piece of paper. Is that. He also said, don't get into a peeing contest with somebody. He says, because all that happens is that two people get wet and smelly. I like that. I like that.
That's right. Is it fair to suggest that if you're trying to buy a car, that it really is true that as a buyer, if you're being a nice guys finish last?
Well, no. I think what you have to do is that you have, Ronald Reagan's statement is trust but verify.
Okay.
So you trust the Russian. Well, you trust where we verify. You trust. You don't automatically think that somebody is
trying to hose you,
snookering you or incompetent or something. But you have to say. I said this on the last show. I love asking people questions that I know the answer to.
Yeah.
Now you find out. You find out what they are. If they say, "Well, I don't know," I'm going to have to find out. Okay. Or they try, blowing smoke up here. Heine. Well, with that, believe it or not, we are through another edition of your Car Buyers Clinic. If you want
Car Buyers Clinic on the No Nonsense Roundtable
on News Radio Wham 1180. Let's say it together on News Radio Wham 1180. Okay. Until next week, see the rest of our shows on NoNonsenseRoundtable.com.
Thanks for listening. Tune in every Saturday from 10 to 11 on News Radio Wham 1180. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll make more.